All right, let's get started. I'm glad that we're able to connect tonight and to do this. Hopefully, people that are watching this recording, this will be helpful for you, meaningful. And I don't know a lot about the property. You just texted me the address, which is great. Um, Let me ask you this: how did you find out about the property?
I have a friend who I knew when he got married that he moved in with his significant other, and so they didn't need two properties. And so he had been asking me, had been mentioned that he had been Airbnb-ing or renting out short term, sort of casually, not intentionally. And I said, "Hey, how's the short term rental going since we started the challenge?" And he said, "Yeah, no, I'm getting rid of it." So, started a conversation naturally. And he said, I mean, I would love for one of my friends to buy it. So if you're interested, like, you don't have to feel any pressure, but I would love for you to take a look at it. And
Okay,
so that's how
okay, so that's a little different than I thought. So he's the owner,
he's
right?
the owner. Yep.
Okay,
It was his original residence. He's no
okay,
longer living there.
okay,
It does have furniture.
okay,
And he's been renting it out. But when he sent me the financials, very casually, like not booked,
okay.
not booked out.
Is your thought to rent it out from him and do a short-term rental with arbitrage, or to buy it from him?
To
What's
buy it from him. He's
oh,
he's looking to sell it. I mean, he said he's also open to um, you know, creative measures if that's something that works for both of us. I just don't even have, that might be a subject too. That might be the many
sure,
things.
sure.
But yeah, he would prefer to sell it. So he
Okay.
doesn't have in his mind, he doesn't have that responsibility. I think if we could probably frame it another way if I wanted to lease it, but ownership for me gives me peace of mind as well because it'll be my property and then I could, do with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't eliminate it off the table of him
Yeah.
renting it, because obviously when he started that, he thought that I mean, the rental income was attractive, and
Yes.
things
Yes.
happen, but passive income, if he wanted passive income, that you could give him an opportunity for passive income. And the reason I think
Definitely.
you still need to put that on the table is that that is your easiest, quickest path
Right.
up and running. I mean, you could have this thing up and running and you could be going in 10, 20 days. You could be
It's
having
true.
making income on it versus all the other ways. Even with owner financing is going to take a little bit longer with closing and so forth, and also the amount of money out of pocket. And you
Hmm.
could say, and this is another way to protect you, like, yeah, I know you maybe wanted to buy it as the end game, but this is a way for you to test it yourself. And you don't want to buy it.
Especially going into the winter months, that's a concern for me, right? This is a shore property.
Yeah.
So it's like I that's one thing that I'm like, trying to take into consideration who's going to rent it during the winter season and what does that look like? What I did the pin and all that, dropping a pin on it and seeing what's near it. So I have some ideas, but really that when you think Asbury Park, you think beach. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, when I think of Asbury Park, I think, where the heck is that? I've never heard of
Right,
it.
right, right. When you're in New Jersey and you think
I learned.
Asbury Park.
Okay. Okay. So anyway, we can look at those acquisition strategies,
Right.
maybe more about that, but that's good. It's good kind of framing it. Well, let's just look at and evaluating it, analyzing it. And I'm just going to tell you how I would do it. And then you actually might have some suggestions, things or things that, missing there. I'm not going to come across like, hey, I'm the expert. This is the only way you can do it. I'm just going to show you how I would do it and how we've evaluated rental properties before. And really, there are three spreadsheets that I have shared with the 90-day challenge people that are involved in this. One is a spreadsheet. In fact, I'll start sharing my screen so we can kind of look at that. And I'll go back over these. One is a spreadsheet that we're going to evaluate to see what's it going to cost to furnish and get it running. So that's
Hmm.
one piece of information we're going to need. The other piece of information that we're going to need is evaluating that market. And I've given this example of what we've done with one that we evaluated in Lansing. So we're going to need to analyze that market and what we think we're going to produce in income. And once we know what we think that our gross income is going to be, then we're going to use this spreadsheet, which I put together on a 3-year pro forma. So year 1, year 2, and year 3, and that's plugging in the top line number, but then looking at all the expenses and what are you actually walking away with and what is your net profit on a monthly basis. So those are the 3 things that we're going to bring together. And the first thing we'll start with is compiling this market analysis. And that's where we got to find out on your particular property. Now, again, some people may have AirDNA. It's expensive, but some people have that and they can evaluate it. They can just put in an address and it will tell them what the monthly and annual income should be based on compiling that data. I think in Randall Cloud's class, I think he referred to about $300 a month for the state of Utah. So we've used it once in a while, but now we've kind of gone to a couple other programs that we have, but they're also expensive. And then a lot of times we just do it ourselves on Airbnb. If I go to the Airbnb site and I put in Ashbury Park, New Jersey, and I don't put in any dates that I want to attend.
And he said it's 1 bed with a flex room that can be a bedroom. So it's 1 bed, 1 bath.
Okay.
So that means the comps that I pulled probably weren't comps. And
let me reduce this down to 2 guests and see what comes up. 4 beds, 4 beds, 2 beds. Even though this one says 2 beds, I'm guessing one of them's the couch, right? This one, ooh, pretty close to the beach, showing a little arrow right there. Steps to the beach. Isn't that deceiving, steps? Well, New York is steps from me. Of course, that's 1,000 miles. It's a lot of steps, but it's steps, right? So that's a little deceiving. Steps to the beach. All right, so this one, let's go. I mean, that may be a little too close to the beach and maybe a little hard to measure. Let's just see if we can find something that's maybe not quite so close. Let's see here.
the home in Ocean Grove, I think, is one of the ones that I chose because it was a cottage, which this is depending on who you ask, it's a cottage.
Okay, I see it down here, right? Yeah. Okay, this is the one.
What did it show for the location?
2 bedroom. Yeah, it showed it was maybe a little closer to the shore and further south.
Got it.
But you've got 12. Let's see, it's a 2 bedroom. I'd really like to find if we can find a 1 bedroom here. 2 beds again. That one probably was. Maybe we'll have to use that one close to the beach. Here we go. 1 bedroom apartment. Now that's an apartment. Here's a bungalow. 2 beds. All right, this might be
1 bedroom. There it is.
Yeah, and let's just see. I should have looked on the map. I think here, a map down here. Thought we had. There we go. Yeah, and it's not that close to the beach. I think this is a pretty good comp, probably. Let's just look at some pictures really quick here. Very small kitchen, right? I mean, nicely done, nicely decorated, but very small. See, that was a drop ceiling, not real luxurious, right? In your kitchen to have a drop ceiling. Very, very basic. Okay, there's one of the beds, I guess, just kind of right out
in the living room-ish. I just sent you what he put as a description.
Oh, okay. All right, very small bathroom. Look at that. All right. I haven't seen the place you're looking at, but I bet you would rate pretty well to this one. Probably a little nicer. Okay, showing a lot of outdoor things in the area, which is good because if the house itself is not that great, that's what you want to feature, right? Go out and do everything within walking distance. All right, so let's look at this house. let's go to the calendar. Let's see. Let's see how many nights here. Let's go back. All right, starting here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Look at, we're at 14 again, it looks like. Right?
Yep.
14.
47%.
So let me do this. While I go to that spreadsheet, I'm going to copy this. And put that link in there. And again, you'll find that to be valuable because you'll revisit and look at your numbers. And this really seems to be a good comp. And this is average price per day. Let's see, average price. Okay, so that wasn't number of days. I put that in there. Okay. This again is 47. This is a 1 bed. Okay, and then let's get that price. We'll really focus on this one. I think it's a really close comp. So this was, let me see if it keeps defaulting to 5 days here.
You can move it out.
But let me get, let's see.
Or if you just choose one day, it'll tell you the nightly rate.
And I wanted to see,
Yeah, 224.36. That's how I've been getting my numbers. 5 nights at 224.36.
yeah, I'm interested to see, let's see if they have a breakdown here. What I want to see is if they break down, here we go, price breakdown. It's just the average. Okay, I wanted to see a day, weekend versus a day rate. So we're at 24, so we're on the average. We got this 20, let's call it 220. Let's call it 224. Put that in there.
What I was doing, I don't know if this is helpful or not, but I was clicking on like a group date, a group range, and then I clicked on nightly, and then I clicked on like, what if I do a grouping over the weekend, like just to see how it varied. And then I just took the average. So like it was 224, it was 236, and it was 240, and add them together divided by 3.
Yeah, well, let me just do like an upcoming weekend here that's free. There's no more in the summer. Let me just do a Friday. And I guess we only, check out, because that one's booked. So let's do this one Friday. Check out on Sunday. Here we go. So there's 2, that's a weekend. So that's what, let's see, 215.40. So that's like 190.
No, but if you click on 581, I think it's like 2 something per night.
I'm sorry. I meant like 29. I meant 290. I said 190, 290, right?
Right.
Yeah. So let's just do that. Let's put that on the weekend. Let's make a note on that because in the spreadsheet, you don't have to put weekends on it, but I do have it broken down that you can put that on there. So just make a little note on here that we've got. And because it's too bad because we just missed the peak season, the summer season. We could have seen, earlier we could have seen what that would go for in the summer. I mean, because was that September or October date?
October.
Yeah, so I mean, that's not even a September date. So you got to believe that they're much higher. So, and again, the year it's going to change, but let's just focus for right now on these numbers right now. So going to my spreadsheet here, this next one, which is the performa. Here's where we put in, and what I just did broke down in the average month, how many weekdays there are and how many weekends there are.
Mm,
And let's say, the average, that one was 290. And I know it's going to be much higher in the summer, but you know what? It's going to be much lower maybe in the winter. And we can try to maybe look at that a little bit. And if that's the weekday rate, a lot of times the weekend rate, the weekday rate, especially in the off season, could be as much as half of that, 50% of that. It's really hard to say in that market. We'll have to look at a lot more comps, but for the purpose of going through this and learning this, let's just use, let's say that it's half the rate. Okay.
okay.
And then let's go with the occupancy rate. I mean, right now we are at, 47, but that was not in prime time by any stretch of the imagination. But I would say that if you use maybe the 47 in your weekends, would be probably just maybe a little bit lower than that. Let's just use 75. And again, you can look at this over and over again to analyze it. Now, to start filling the rest of this out, if we go to that spreadsheet here, and when I first sent it, apologize, I don't think I had the quantity and then the subtotal, but that should be easy to do. And I actually just started putting this down for a 2-bedroom, and now we know it's a 1-bedroom, but for a 2-bedroom, it was kind of funny because it just, when I put in rough numbers, I put in 10,000 before, I think, on my other, or what we had for Lansing, as a reserve, and furnishing was 9,500, and that was almost the same when I just was plugging in numbers. But this one, since it is 2-bedroom, you're probably looking at less than that. So, but again, we want to be conservative, make sure that there's no bad surprises. We only want good surprises. So let's say you put in there $8,000. And we're doing this, by the way, as an arbitrage. This is for arbitrage. Then we can pull another spreadsheet I have for purchase. But I think what you want to do is you got to know that it works just like multiple exit strategies. It'd be multiple acquisition strategies, because it may be the safest to run it for a year and then figure out whether or not you want to buy it based on how good it's been. In fact, now that I think about it, we did this in a really neat place downtown, and they were going to give us owner financing right from the start. They made us a really good owner financing deal, and it was a new market I hadn't been in. And a partner brought it to me. We were doing a partnership together, and I said, "Listen, let's negotiate what we can buy it a year from now, but this first year, let's not do the owner financing. Let's not put the money down, and let's run it for 1 year and see how it goes." And thank God we did that, because number one, Chicago came down and changed no short-term rentals. They got on really on people's case on that. So that was one. And even without that change, we saw that it didn't bring in what we thought it would or hoped it would. And we would have been in big trouble. I mean, we would have had to probably default on that loan. So anyway, not meaning to scare you, but boy, was that great to have a year of experience before we made the decision. So reserve, this was asked last night, how do you know? Because you don't have any renters yet. Well, you've got to be conservative, right? So we did it based on, this average is probably like 60%. If we average those numbers together, let's say we're somewhere around 65% maybe, because there's more weekdays than weekends or whatever. So maybe you want to look at, if I can only get, let's say the first year, if I'm only 60% occupied, maybe I need 40% in reserves for the first, whether it is 6 months, 9 months. So do you have any idea what this might rent out for just as a regular rental, Erica? Any idea?
I had that. Hang tight. Um, iOS says 2480 to 3,000.
Okay. So let's use in the middle something like maybe 27.
Okay.
Okay, 2,700. And so let's take that and say for the first 6 months, it's only making half. So we're at what, 1350? What's 1350 times 6?
8,100.
8,100. So I'm going to use 8,100 as reserve. Okay. Again, that can change. Let's say there's a move-in fee or security deposit, whatever they're going to require. Let's say, let's be real conservative. Let's say it's going to be equivalent to 1 month's rent. The security deposit is, and you're going to have that up front. So we're at 1,800, a little over, or I'm sorry, 18,800 for what our upfront cost is going to be. Now, when I plugged in those numbers here, this calculated the base as the base year right here. And then I put like 10% less for year one. And then year two, I put 10% more. And so really those numbers dictated this right down the stretch right here. All right. So right now, what I'm saying is based on those numbers, we're going to bring in 4,100 a year. I'm a month. I'm sorry, 4,100 a month. And then our expenses, I got to change this because this was based on
Financing.
another property. So we're going to put 2,700. And then here, what you might want to do is take that and let's say they're going to increase rent. What do you say, 5%?
Yeah, 3 to 5%.
All right, we'll do 5 to be conservative.
Okay.
Then here, same thing. We're going to take this. We're going to multiply it by 5%. And then, so the numbers down here, if you look at now, cleaning costs, like these are, and you've got part of that spreadsheet was to try to find out what cleaners would cost, what it would cost to clean. Well, the assumption was the cleaning would cost 125. That's weird. That was the part, that was exactly the amount that Randall Cloud said that he asked for a 2-bedroom. So 125 might be about right.
Yeah.
But then the average, what I have down, that assumes 5 cleans. And what I did here was we always built in, so this is a $15 per clean profit. So this doesn't change the numbers too much. If you say, oh, it's going to be 6 cleans, well, that's going to be 6 more cleans you're paying for and 6 more cleans that you're, collecting for. So it's not much of it's not much of a difference. You can see the difference in this first year is only $75. So that's not really where we're going to get much difference here. Legal and professional. Now, when I put that number in there, that also included if you're using things like HostAway, some of the channel managers and so forth that I recommend. It could include that type of cost if you're using pricing software. Now, parking, this was an apartment complex for me, so there's no parking cost. So we can eliminate
This one
that.
has a driveway.
Right, so we can eliminate that. And then the next one, oh wait, I'm sorry, I eliminated the wrong one. Go back here, that's the $50. All right, what else is on here? Okay, insurance. Now that is going to be something that could even be more because you want to get short-term rental insurance. And traditionally that's more than if it was just a home. So I'm guessing insurance, this is just a guess, but you could pay, as much as 150 a month in insurance. Now repairs, this number is probably high because if you're renting it as a rental, they're responsible, they're being the landlord, anything major. This repairs could just be repairs to your furniture, very minor things. I think this could come down probably looking at more like 75. I'm trying to think, we've had that unit now in Michigan for a year. And I don't think we've had a single repair cost. I think maybe we replaced a broken teapot or something. So that's even less than that. So do what you feel comfortable with, but I'll just put 50 in there. All right. Now supplies, this is, toilet paper, paper towel, cleaning supplies, shampoo, detergent, all that kind of stuff. This could possibly be a little bit lower with a smaller unit like that. Yeah, I would probably go more in the 150. I think if I take this out, let's see. Yeah, okay. Utility, probably talk to the landlord, the owner that to get a handle on utility costs to see what that is. And so you can see based on these numbers right now, it's a negative cash flow. And so
Yeah.
what we've got to do though is firm up really these two numbers right here. I don't think you're going to find much savings down here on the expense side, other than maybe negotiating. Obviously, if you can negotiate a better rent, from him. And you could even do this number in reverse and say, okay, what would I have to rent the place for in order to make this attractive for me?
Hmm.
So if you could get him down to $2,000 in rent, boom, look how that changes the everything, right?
Yeah.
So that all of a sudden from no cash flow to almost 500, 450 a month cash flow. So that's going to be huge as what the rent would be. And it had a range, right? It was 2,300 to, yeah, like 2,300 to,
Yeah. 2,300 to 3,000.
yeah. And so what you just kind of keep
2,420.
working is tightening up these numbers. And we only looked at one property, and it's kind of at the end of the strong season. So definitely work these numbers here. And you could combine these, I broke them up weekday and weekend, but some people just do like an average, right? And that average can just take everything into account. But this is why I advised the one person that said that they had a landlord that's interested in talking to them. Well, until you do this, number one, you don't even know if you're interested. And two, if you are interested, it's like, okay, I'm interested, but I'm not interested at 2,700. I'm interested in something more like, maybe 2,100 a month might be something that you're interested in. Now, what I've done down here, just to let you know what these numbers are. So you've got annual income at 4,000. And people will say, like, why do you get excited about this? Or why is Randall Cloud excited about this? Ordinarily, you'd say, well, 4,000, that's nothing. But think about it. This is 4,000 on an $18,800 investment. I mean, if you look at a return on investment, obviously this is time intensive, but you can make it very automated. These smaller places, you can have them very automated. Hardly have to interact at all with the customer, with the guest, unless you want to.
Mhm.
So Erica, do that math. Or never mind, I'll do it right on the screen. It'd be easier. I'm going to take this. I'm going to take, oh, actually, I don't even need to do that. I've already got it
There,
calculated.
10.4.
Well, yeah, but you know what? This is if you're bringing somebody in for all the money and you're splitting the
Mm.
profits with them. So double this. If this is your 18.8,
Mhm.
then you're going to double this number and you're bringing in 10, it's 20% on your money,
Right.
20.8% on your money. I did this as an example of how you can leverage, and you could bring somebody in as maybe the money person and say, hey, if I was to pay you 10.4% on your money, would you be satisfied with that? Is that something you'd be interested in? And maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't, but you could just give them a bigger percent. Let's say they say, well, I won't really do it for that. And then you can come up with this number right here. This is based on 50%. What if you gave them 60%? Well, how's 12.5? Well, that sounds real good. Okay.
Mhm.
So then now you make 40, they make 60, and basically, you're an operator. This is a business. And what you don't get, and the reason why I'm sure you like the idea of owning it, is you don't get all those benefits as an owner. You don't get the write off the depreciation. You don't get to have the accelerated appreciation. You don't get to what do I want to say? Oh, the debt pay down, the equity buildup for pet debt pay down. So you don't have those things. But it's awfully nice to run one of these for a year, and then you really know your numbers now.
Right, that's true. I mean, long term, my intention is buy and hold, just because of I do have a job and I do, so just my investor ID, like what I need is more write-offs.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, got it. Yeah.
but
So
go ahead.
anyway, those are, if you see where we got here, we use those 3 spreadsheets to get to here.
Mhm.
The other 2 inform the numbers that needed to go on here. And this can change drastically. What if you don't need that reserve? What if you're not using that? I would still have it.
And another variable is it's already furnished. So we talked about what if you leave all the furniture? He doesn't need the furniture. He has a whole nother house and you know what I mean?
That is a huge difference, right?
Yeah.
Now you've got something like, this could be as low as, if it's
Maybe
nice.
1,000 if we put
Well,
this.
yeah, I would say, a couple thousand to be on the safe side. But if you did that, whoops, why didn't that? What did I do wrong?
No, that's correct. It just changed it to
Oh yeah,
12,800.
12. Okay, but looking down here though, do I have an error in this? Oh yeah, I did. I didn't see, I put the 20,000 in there. It shouldn't be, I shouldn't have hard coded that at 20,000. It should be that cell. So it changes. I'll have to let people know that.
Mm.
I put 20,000 because that's the number I was using. And the reason I did that is carrying it across. I didn't want to keep plugging that in, but I will. I'll just go like this. This is what I should do. Yeah, I discovered, yeah, again, it was fine for my purpose because I was using 20,000 carrying that across. But look look at the return on investment now.
Right.
That's half of it. That's if you have someone bring in the 12,000. Double that, double that if you're providing the 12,000. Right? So that's why you can justify, well, I'll put 12,800 on my credit card, even if it's at 18%, because I'm making 32%.
Mm.
So, to me, what's appealing about arbitrage is 2 things, in my opinion. One is you can scale, right? That's what's exciting, is scaling it. Because think about it, to do one property, maybe you raise $200,000 to do one property. Well, as Randall Cloud will tell you, that's 10 arbitrage deals. That's 10 apartments that has residual income that you can run and automate, for that same $200,000. Instead of doing one deal, you're doing 10 right
Yeah.
away. So that's exciting about it. And the other thing that we found that we didn't really think about when we started doing these luxury short-term rentals is the management opportunity. Once you get the system down, then like we just had person that we contract with, he stayed at a short-term rental and told us about our management company, and we had a conversation with them the other day about managing their property. So, the cash flow, and you've got management experience, obviously, the cash flow.
Yeah, I'm hiding my uniform.
And what's nice about what I really love about the combination of owning, whether you're owning or arbitrage, doesn't matter. Either one of those strategies coupled with management, either one of those strategies are going to have high and low seasons that, we make a ton of money in the summer, spring, summer, early fall, and then we make like no money the rest of the year. Now it averages out pretty good, but to budget yourself and of these big monies coming in and then nothing coming in. What's nice about managing, it's we charge 20%. It's 20%. Every month we make something, even at the dead of winter, and if the owners aren't making a dime, they don't have a net positive cash flow. We still have a cash flow because let's say it brings in $4,000 and maybe their debt service and holding cost is $5,000. But $4,000, we get 20% of that. So we made 800 in that month and they made zero. They lost $1,000 and we made 800. Right.
Mm.
So anyway, it's a nice way to even things out there. All right. So your only homework really is to dig into these numbers deeper. You know what I mean? Just make them as accurate as possible and then have that conversation with the landlord. And something that I'm going to have next week, not this coming week, I guess it's the following week. We're really going to have people make phone calls to landlords. One thing that I asked them to do is to have their 2 or 3 sentence elevator speech introduction to the prospective landlord, telling what you do. Remember, that was kind of the whole Jay Massey, who are you serving? Randall Cloud does the same thing. Who are you serving? What you do? Talk about just briefly that market. And then the other thing is, though, know really well what are the 3 or 4 benefits to working with you under this business model. So do you know can you name 3 or 4 things, Erica, that you could present to this landlord? Why would they? Let's talk about arbitrage right now. Okay, you're just renting it from them. You're just going to be a renter. What are reasons why they should want to work with you?
I mean, like you said earlier, he was interested in cash flow. So you can maintain cash flow. I'll be the best tenant.
Okay, why will you be the best tenant? Let's focus on that. So let's say he was considering, because it's a little different because he might have wanted to sell it, but let's just say he was going to rent it. I could rent it a long-term rental person, or I could rent it to Erica.
Mhm.
So why are you going to be the best tenant?
Well, the condition of the apartment is actually my business, so I someone who's going to make sure that everything's working, and we'll have cleaners in there probably, 5 pretty frequently. I can't say exactly, but like based off of after every stay, there's going to be cleaning done, so we'll have a pulse on what's going on in the house.
And I would use the word professional cleaners, because if you're
Okay.
paying someone, by definition, that's a professional, right?
Right.
We're going to have professional cleaners in there after every single stay. Based on my projections, I think we're going to have that place cleaned 3 or about 5 times a month. No other tenant will have a professional cleaner clean your house 5 times a month. I can guarantee you that.
Right.
Right? So boom, checkbox. Checkbox for Erica. All right. Cleaning. You mentioned another thing. Since this is our business, we got to make sure everything is operating at 100%. So
Hmm.
we're going to let you know about maybe a kitchen sink leak underneath, because your typical renter, it could go months before they even notice it or let you know about it. And by that time, the kitchen cabinet's rotted out, and now you got to replace the kitchen cabinet, or at least the kitchen cabinet flooring on it. That won't happen with us. We've got an inspection all the time. When the cleaners are there, they inspect everything and make sure everything's operational and everything's perfect. We don't let drips go. We report them right away. We let you know. And if you can't get in there to fix it right away, my cleaners, I usually have them do little handyman type things. So like a leaky faucet, for an example, we might even be able to take care of that and not even bother you with it. Your other tenants are probably, number one, not going to let you know about it. And 2, if they do discover it, they're going to expect you to get there and do it. Don't get me wrong, we want to be able to do everything, but we'll do these little things for you because it's our business depends on it.
Hmm.
So that was the other thing. You didn't mention something else. Erica, if this works for you, how long will you be their tenant?
Forever.
Forever. So your occupancy rate, you don't right now, people figure out, oh, every couple years I got to have a turnover and I got to refresh the paint. I got to do all this. And a couple months maybe go by without a tenant. Hey, if this works for both of us, I'm your tenant for life. I have no reason to move my business out of your property if it works for both of us. You may have 0 vacancies from the time we sign the lease. That would be my goal, my intention, and what I think will happen if it performs like I think it will. That's pretty appealing, isn't it?
Yeah.
zero vacancy in a place. So those are the big ones that you want to mention. Oh, another thing you could say is, I don't know if you plan to do this or not, but if you do, you should point this out. I have security systems in all of my properties. I will install a security system on this property. So it won't even have to be your expense. You won't have to worry about it. You don't have to monitor it. I'm going to be keeping an eye on the property for you. And if there's a problem with the outside or somebody's messing with it, I will know about it. So that's another thing. If you are going to put in, there's smoking detectors, not smoke detectors, but smoking detection software. If you plan on putting that in, you say that as
Mhm.
well. No one likes their place to be smoked in. We have a no smoking rule, and I use a smoke detection system to make sure that nobody's smoking in the house. So anyway, all those things are what you want to, and again, as you said it, you can introduce it that way. I'm going to be the best tenant you ever had. And maybe he laughs about it. You laugh. And it's like, I know that sounds funny, but let me tell you why I'm serious when I say that. And then boom, hit him with the points. Zero vacancy. The cleanest tenant with professional cleaners in there, anywhere from 2 to 5 times a month, cleaning your property, reporting things instantly because my business depends on it. Security systems, making your property more safe. Sometimes you can even get a reduction in your insurance if they know you have a security system. If you don't have one now, I'm going to install them and make sure that it's installed before my first guest gets there. And again, that's only if that's what you're going to do, obviously.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I think this is good. Hopefully people that listen to it got a lot out of it. Anything
Yeah.
else that you want to end with?
Yeah, I just had, I'm thinking about making this reality, right? So when it comes to reserve, that would include like, I'm thinking about what Hugh said with photos and getting professional photos. That's where that money would go, right?
Erica, I would put that in not as reserve. I would put that in as your startup cost. I don't know in that spreadsheet if it
I
had,
doesn't have a spot for start. I have furniture and furnishings,
okay. I would
but
go,
maybe we'll put startup cost there.
yeah,
It'll be, startup costs and furnishings.
yeah.
Because I was
So,
just looking for, okay, when I think about a long-term, like a buy and hold, there's, taxes, insurance, like all of that. But I'm like, okay, what are my other costs? I want to make sure it's all in here so that there's no surprises. So
yeah,
startup and go ahead.
oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, so that's where I was thinking. So that would be the 9,500
Right.
that's on your spreadsheet, but for me it would be
Yeah, if you want to break it out, startup, but we
right. Just so
include,
I make sure I'm not missing anything.
yeah, in our spreadsheet I try to simplify this. Ours is a little bit more complicated than this, but we do have a startup category. My thought on this was we'll just include that in the furniture and furnishings because cameras, that's kind of furnishings as far as, it's something
I see.
to go into the house.
No, so that camera footage, like that, and then also when you talked about the smoking detectors, that would be in there as well.
Yeah, that
Like
would be
all
a
of these.
monthly. Yeah, if there's a upfront cost for them, sometimes there are, that would be in your startup and furnishings. And then also if the monthly, that legal and professional would be
Hmm.
those things. So you're monitoring for security, that would be a part of that monthly cost that you want to plug in there. Yeah, good question though. Real, yeah.
Okay.
And you can, separate that out. That's fine. Uh, but when he said when he gave us 20,000
Yeah, that was
a unit,
everything.
he was covering everything. Cameras, security deposit, whatever.
Hulu, everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all
Okay.
in. Yeah, and I would even include the first month's rent in there, although you could do that out of reserves. Because that's kind of when you launch, it's kind of an operational expense at that point for your accountant, but it doesn't really matter too much. But have plenty in there for reserve for sure. Okay.
Okay.
All right. This is good. Hopefully everybody will enjoy it and get something out of it. All right.
All right.
All right. Good night. See ya.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.